Hi everybody, this is going to be our first anatomy lesson. I started this channel because I'm a med student and I would like to share with you some of my knowledge, and hopefully I can give you a nice ASMR experience. I'm just going to need your feedback if you actually enjoy my channel or my videos, or maybe the things that I might have to change in order to become better. So, our first lesson is going to be about the first region of the upper limb, the arm. Especially, we're going to talk about the humerus, the main bone, and actually the single bone of the arm. It is a long bone which is actually formed by three parts: an upper epiphysis, a lower epiphysis, and a diaphysis. The upper epiphysis is being formed by the head of the humerus, this kind of sphere-shaped structure. This over here is going to be the greater tubercle, and this over here is going to be called the lesser tubercle. This structure between the two tubercles is going to be called the intertubercle groove. This dotted line actually expresses the anatomical neck, and this over here is going to be called the surgical neck. Why is it being called the surgical neck? Well, because when a person falls on their arm, this is the structure that is most probably to be broken, which can eventually affect the radial nerve or the axillary nerve. But we are going to talk about that later. This over here is being called the deltoid tuberosity. It is the place where the deltoid muscle is going to be inserted. So here on the lower side we can see the capitulum, the trochlea, the lateral epicondylum, and the medial epicondylum. This structure over here is being called the chronoid fossa, and this over here is going to be called the radial fossa. They are actually placed here to help connecting with the radius and ulna. So their structures, when we are going to talk about the flexion of the forearm on the arm, they're going to insert here in order to help the flexion. So let's have a look on the back of the humerus. So over here you can still see the greater tubercle, and here you can see the radial groove. This is placed here because the radial nerve is going to come over here and actually come from the anterior part, from the brachial plexus, to migrate here on the posterior side of the humerus and eventually innervate all of the posterior muscles of the arm, the forearm, and even the dorsal muscles of the palm. So here you can still see the medial epicondylum, because this part is actually facing the body. Because here you can see the scapula, Here you can see the clavicle, here you can see the acromion, and this is going to be the humeroscapular joint, or the joint of the shoulder. Here you can still see the trochlea and the lateral epicondylum, and this huge fossa over here is going to be called the olecranian fossa. It actually is being placed here to facilitate the extension of the forearm on the arm, because the olecranium, which is a structure of the ulna, is going to slide and get into this fossa. So it actually is being part of the joint between the arm and the forearm. Here we can see some insertion and origins of the main muscles. So if you're going to talk about the muscles of the arm, we have the muscles that are being placed on the posterior side of the humerus, which is actually a single one, the triceps. And if we are to talk about the muscles that are going to be placed on the anterior side of the humerus, we have the biceps brachialis with its long head coming through the intertubercle groove and inserted here on the superior tuberosity of the glenoid cavity, and the small head, which is going to be inserted on the coracoid process. Then we have the coracobrachialis muscle, which is going to be inserted from the coracoid process, and finally the brachial muscle. As well as you can encounter the deltoid muscle, which comes from the clavicle and is being inserted here on the deltoid tuberosity. So this has been the beginning of our lessons in anatomy. Hope you really enjoyed it, and can't wait to see your feedback on this video. Thank you for your attention, and don't forget to study more.